I have a feeling that every segment, every genre that kind of like be that pends too much towards the popular
Mm-hmm.
side becomes something that is kind of like frowned upon.
Absolutely.
You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
punk rock, like Simple Plan. No, it's too pop.
Well, like a lot of people hated
that's
Green
not
Day
real-
when they first came out. Not the era you're talking about, 10 years before that.
Okay.
But that's what got me into that kind of music because I'm
Okay.
like, oh wow, I like where else would I have heard this other than the radio? So that's what got me into punk rock, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But then the people that are like in the scene where they actually came from are like, oh, these guys sold out. They're not punk anymore. And so,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that feeling that pop is like that commercial type of music that is just kind of like that,
But
just to sell, just to sell the people. But it
Right.
doesn't really have that, that
Well,
structure or whatever.
well, not necessarily. I would argue that "Baby One More Time" is a fucking brilliant songwriting accomplishment.
I like Call Me Maybe. I think that's a really good song.
It's a really
Really?
good song.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're
There you
I think it's
pop-
a really good song.
It's not. It's really actually. It's really hard to write something that sells to millions. It's like the Columbus. You know the Columbus egg. Have you ever heard the
Right.
expression? Once you see it, it's like, oh, well, I could have done that, but it's coming up with these ideas. They're so basic. They're so conversational. They're so natural, and they're catchy. If you can do it, I would go. I would advise you to go pick up your $2 million check
Right.
because these people just want to make money.
Well, the
and
genre is the vehicle, and the song is the driver. Like
Right.
you can have a good song in any
genre.
genre, unless it's a BMW.
The genre, the BMW genre. Right.
No such thing as a good driver anymore.
I'm never buying a BMW anymore.
No, don't. Don't be that guy.
I don't.
You're a nice guy.
I don't wanna be
Don't do
judged
it
by
to
you,
yourself.
man.
But all kidding aside, it's hard to do good stuff regardless of genre.
Right.
But what happens here is maybe it's a cultural thing. I think in punk rock specifically, once you conform to the pop standards, you literally went against the mission.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
become a traitor to the cause,
Mhm.
and that's why they're more ill-received. It doesn't mean that they can't do good music if they weren't ever associated with this label, but it's more about like a betrayal more than anything, I'd say.
Right.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
So what? That's curious to me. What is the cause of punk rock?
The cause is not to be mainstream. It's to be for the people
Okay.
that don't feel accepted by everybody else. It's for the outcasts of
Okay.
society. And it's a place they can go where they feel like, oh, my voice is getting heard.
Okay.
Right? So not the beautiful people. People
So,
that are angry about
In a
stuff.
certain
Yeah.
specific way, right? Because I feel like
It's
that could
about
be the
equity
cause
and
of a lot of
representation.
different, equity and good words. So I feel like that could be the cause for other genres too, like hip hop, for example. It's it's
Yeah,
like
it's
their
black
voice.
culture. It's a black voice. It's a
Right.
black art form for sure.
And punk rock would be that for what, like white people?
Suburban teenage white kids.
Okay.
But, there's a big Hispanic community that's into punk rock. African American, not so much. I guess it doesn't resonate with them.
Right.
There's a band called Bad Brains from the 80s that was all African American
Right.
punk band. But typically, those are not the demographic of the shows.
What do you think that is?
I can't think because what you said, they have hip hop.
Okay.
They have their thing.
Right.
They have their culture, which we stole, but everything, like their culture split off into from the original blues stuff, splits off into R&B, soul music, into funk, which all the stuff that kind of became hip hop.
Right.
The rock and roll part, which was also from blues, but then started going, metal and harder stuff. And for whatever reason, I think their music is more beat driven, more danceable, right? And people respond to that.
Right.
And other people respond to the energy. Nothing's bad. It's just different.
Yeah, it's
Right.
styles.
Different ways.
You like
That's
what you
cool.
like.
No, it's really cool to
But
think
there-
about that.
Right, but in
The,
why
the
why are
cultural
groups,
differences within one culture.
but
Like the
yeah.
different separations and backgrounds and what
Probably-
what resonates with certain groups of people
Yeah, but that's
uh,
also part of your context, right?
that you grow up with
Yeah, I
in.
think so. Like maybe and hate me in the comments if you will, but this is like if you grow up in a black community and the black community is already exposed to certain types of music, that's going to be your influences.
Right,
Like in my house, I didn't listen to Marvin Gaye. I listened to the Beatles, you
right.
know, because my parents listened to the Beatles. And and the music that my friends were listening to, there it was Metallica and The Offspring and Green Day and all this stuff, and I was exposed to those things, and it took me a while. Even after I studied music for years, I couldn't really get into the a bunch of these other genres of black music. I could, however, get into gospel music, and I thought this was the most amazing music ever made because of the sheer energy and power, and maybe there's a lot of power of belief behind it. That
And the beautiful voices too,
yeah, but
because
it's so, especially more modern, because I'm more into the modern side of arrangements. They're so rich and they're so intricate.
and it's also because I feel like there's that aspect of adoration, because they're
Right.
singing for a divine purpose to worship a divine figure
It
or
is,
God,
and that
so there's that energy kind of transposes
yeah,
into
it
the music,
transcends you
transcends, yeah. So I
for
think there's
sure.
definitely that aspect too,
But
which kind of
when I was
touches me.
growing up in the '90s, I was into all the hip hop stuff too, as well as all the
Hmm.
punk stuff that was coming out in the '90s. The high school I went to, no one was listening to, like, a very small amount of people were listening to punk music. All of them were listening to the hip hop stuff,
Right.
and I was super into that. But this is before uh, white rapping was like something that everybody did in their parents' basement, right? And I didn't look at it as something I really enjoyed listening to it. I wasn't like, oh, I should do that. This is
Right.
gonna be a good idea. I should be a white rapper. Like, this was before Eminem, right?
Before
Like,
Eminem, I
yeah,
was gonna
yeah,
say
yeah.
that before.
I mean, and they had Vanilla Ice. So Vanilla Ice was like the first one I remember, and he was a joke.
Right.
Like, everyone just laughed at that.
There's another guy, Little Dicky.
Oh,
Little
that's
Dicky.
yeah, yeah,
He's good.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big,
But that's
An expert?
now. Like,
geek
there's
expert,
so many white rappers now. Like, it doesn't count anymore.
really,
Yeah,
but
there's
like
so
real
many now.
rappers, like kind of like
Yeah,
Eminem.
yeah. There's so many now. Like, it's not like it was back then
Okay,
when the
there was a
ones
guy
that
that
came out.
died that
Oh,
was
Little Peep, I think you're talking about.
no, the guy that with the tattoos. What was his name? He was a rapper too, right? He
I
died
mean, you
really
got
young.
Post Malone. I guess
Well,
that's rap. I don't listen to it.
I
But
think he's more hip hop, right? Or no, I don't
well,
know.
is there?
Post
No,
How
like
much
Post
hip
is
hop
Malone
and
and
rapper. Rap
yeah.
stands for rhythm and poetry. Hip hop, I actually don't know what it stands for, but
Okay,
I think most of the time they're used interchangeably,
Yeah,
okay.
I
loosely,
wouldn't consider it different
like a
genres.
subgenre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
But
didn't know
anyways, yeah,
that's what rap stand for.
yeah,
Thank
rhythm
you.
and poetry. You're welcome.
Yeah, I've
that's
learned
cool.
something today here on the Woke Wars.
Woo! What's up, Warriors? Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to hit that like button. We invite you to join the conversation by dropping a comment down below. And if you want to watch more videos like this, go ahead and click the links on the screen. We are now posting once a week, every Wednesday, so hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out. And we'll see you on the next one.